evening, and tonight on the big match, two outstanding games from the First Division. The Manchester Derby as City face United.
Henry again, and that's a good early cross. Bennett, well saved by Bailey.
Strugglers Brighton against Liverpool.
Mike Robinson letting it run beautifully for Gordon Smith. He's goal-bound now. That's a great start from Clements.
And goals from the Third Division as Fulham played Portsmouth.
Lock again. A chance to cross one in. Mahoney's there. And so too is Davis, just wide.
And as well as the action, the news of the night, starting with the headlines now from Jim Rosenthal.
There's no holding the top two, Ipswich and Aston Villa. They both win again. Leicester caused another upset. They win at Spurs after losing striker Jim Melrose with concussion. And we've news tonight of a transfer link-up involving Nottingham Forest and Norwich.
But let's start now with Manchester City against Manchester United, a game that attracted a crowd of over 50,000 to Main Road. It was the first Manchester derby for City's new manager, John Bond, who's done so much to get the club on the move again. And it was an important one for United's Dave Sexton, coming under increasing criticism as Manchester United seek the sort of result to lift morale in the club. While the pictures are from Granada Television, the commentator Gerald Sinstadt.
On a day like this, the atmosphere gets to you, whoever you are. Whether you're Joe Corrigan playing in your 22nd derby, a £1 million player like Gary Birtles, a 19-year-old making a derby debut like Steve McKenzie, or a man who has known derby games in Glasgow as well as Manchester, as Lou Macari has. On a day like this, no one is immune from nerves. City, though, have the advantage of virtually a full squad to choose from. The only casualty for them is Phil Boyer. And the only overnight dilemma for manager John Bond was the right back spot, and that stays with Tony Henry. So City are, in fact, unchanged. United, though, continue to be dogged by misfortune. They're again without their two Scottish internationals, Gordon McQueen and Joe Jordan. That means that Lou Macari, who had a day in bed this week with a heavy cold, will operate up front with Gary Birtles. And, of course, a day on which Dave Sexton, after such a disappointing season, has a great deal of pressure on his shoulders. And as Manchester United prepare to start this 102nd league derby, they have an advantage of 9 victories, 38 to 29, and they begin this one attacking the goal to our right. Red shirts, white shorts, Manchester City all light blue. Bennett is offside. First decision of the game for Mr. Mills, quite straightforward. Linesman's flag up quickly, Dave Bennett caught. Very cold afternoon, but the pitch in nice condition. Gary Bailey. Macari coming in behind Birtles, jump and trying to play it on for Birtles. Booth turn, put it out for the throw. Back for a City free kick. Wilkins. Awful lot of passes being intercepted. Curry, and a good break here by Duxbury on his left foot. A whisker away for the youngster. Made his debut in the derby game at Old Trafford earlier. Almost made a name for himself in the early stages of this one with a left foot shot that just whizzed past Corrigan's far post. Mike Duxbury, and now Corrigan with the goal kick. Hutchison to Gow. Bennett. And his heels tapped by Albiston. Hutchison will take the free kick. Booth is up on the edge of the penalty area. And Over comes the free kick, and it's looking for Booth, but Birtles heads it out for a corner. First corner to be taken by Parr. City clustering on the near post, making no secret that that's their tactic at corners. And it almost worked for them too. It could yet. McDonald really should have blasted it when he thought he had enough time just to try and lift it over, and in the end it was neither one thing nor the other. Corner play to the near post there, didn't really touch anybody, but then when it was only half cleared, McDonald had time, tried to side foot it, didn't get enough elevation. Wilkins, Birtles, a foot too high there by Tommy Booth. And Ray Wilkins will take the free kick. Played short to Birtles, back again. McDonald, Reeves, Buchan tangling for the ball, winning it cleanly. One back by Mackenzie for Hutchison. And Hutchison, a nice pass for Reeves. Real chance here. Ball wouldn't settle. Can he make it yet? And it was blocked, and it's a corner. But there was a gorgeous ball played through there by Tommy Hutchison. And it then just would not settle for Reeves. Best through ball of the game so far, and then it won't settle anywhere where he wants it. So he tries to come right, and then he can't find the angle for the shot before it's turned out for a corner. But Hutchison has looked for one player who has the confidence to put his foot on the ball. Now then, Reeves couldn't do anything, but it's still a scramble in there. Referee has given a free kick for holding down. Dave Sexton, no doubt, as disappointed as everybody else that neither side has really got to grips with the game. McElroy into space for Wilkins. That was nicely played, and Birtles is on the left. And a chance here to make a break. Corrigan has come, and what a very good bit of goalkeeping that was. Bennett. And it's gone off Alveston to Bailey, but it was the goalkeeper at the other end who did so well there. Birtles was put through to chase a ball from Wilkins, and it was falling very awkwardly. Corrigan had to come out of the area, and that meant he had to use his feet, and it was a very good tackle. Hutchison for Mackenzie, and Hutchison goes on in the middle to join Bennett, Reeves and Parr. Fell behind the wall and then off Coppell. The most extraordinary ball from Coppell, and he will have been the most relieved man at Main Road to see that skid all the way through to Gary Bailey. Can't think it was really what he intended. Reed. Mackenzie gives it away. Coppell. Birtles. Wilkins, but Coppell was closed down. Reed made life very difficult for him. Booth, Coppell nips in. Nicol tries to cross, but Parr intercepts. Birtles, Wilkins, Nicol, Wilkins. Good intention here. Down goes Nicol, but not a foul. I think it was as much a slip as anything. John Bond as impassive as his opposite number. Moran, Coppell, Booth, McDonald. United throw in. Wilkins pulls it across, header out by Gow, Nicol. Moran, but he hits his own man, Nicol. And that was a trip by Wilkins on par. That brings the game's first booking. Ray Wilkins apologises, gives his name to Mr. Mills, accepting that the referee had no option but to caution him for that. Although one would say it was a matter of mistiming rather than malice. Here's the foul. It came as City were threatening on the break. Oh, that's a booking, all right. McDonald forward. It's a good jump by Duxbury. Wilkins, a bad pass, giving it to Hutchison. Setting up a Manchester City attack. A shot from Hutchison on the half volley, picked up by Bailey. Hutchison opting for a shot, and those low down that bounce in front of the goalkeeper are not always easy, but Bailey had got behind it, which is the important thing. "45 minutes gone, no goals. The nearest we've come, Kevin Reeves, a chance for Manchester City that wouldn't settle for him. Mike Duxbury, a chance for Manchester United that he pulled just wide of the post." Manchester City start us off again, and there is at least one worthwhile omen in the record books it's perhaps worth quoting, and that is that we haven't had a goalless draw in a Manchester derby since 1974, so we've got 45 minutes for them to find a goal or two here. McDonald, Wilkins, and then Gow goes over, and that's the first free kick of the second half. It's one of those classic games when the fear of losing gets the upper hand over the desire to win. Hutchison. Henry. Henry again, and that's a good early cross. Bennett, well saved by Bailey. That's the best moment of the game so far. Nice cross. Good effort by Bennett, good save by Bailey. Henry popping up here in an attacking position and showing how to cross. Bennett was free. Bailey made an excellent save. Birtles. Nicol. Dennis Tuart warming up, the Manchester City substitute. Heading down, Power, Reeves, Mackenzie to cross, studs from Nicol and a clearance from Moore. McDonald, Power finds Gow, Mackenzie, and Mackenzie to Bennett. This looks a bit more promising from City. Bennett slipping it on. Power pulls back. Mackenzie! Well, it was a move that probably would have deserved a goal in any game. And as moves go in this game, it was a real gem. Patient build-up by City. At last they were finding their men, and at last it paid off. Getting towards the end of it now, as Mackenzie plays it out to Bennett. Bennett turns outside on for Power. Power's pulled back, and in goes Mackenzie. So it's 1-0 to Manchester City in the 14th minute of the second half. McElroy for United. Macari, McElroy, couple here. Header away by Booth. This is a different game now. Power. Warren. Koppel. Birtles. Still Birtles. Well saved by Corrigan on the edge of his 6-yard area. Bertels whose shot it was, Corrigan whose save it was. City banners flying. Makari, Bertels, Henry chasing back to get goal side of him and gets in a tackle, but Bertels retains the ball. McElroy looking for a shooting angle. Wilkins was blocked, gets another try, he's blocked again, and then it's Nicol wide. And Power did some good work there. Wilkins had a couple of shots, but both were blocked. McElroy went dancing in well. Then Reed couldn't touch it. But Power did well to block Wilkins once, then twice. And now Booth comes out as Nicol shoots wide. Wilkins, Bertels. Wilkins, Koppel, there are two challenges, but then Booth robs Bertels. Hutchison, Bennett on for Power. Cross for Mackenzie, and there was a well-timed run by Tommy Booth. Gone out for a corner. Booth, who doesn't often score, got one last week against Peterborough and was in there looking for another one. Good cross played in there, and Booth was in hunting, but just the ball knocked out for a corner before he could make any sort of decisive contact. This will be marked down as time wasting. Anyway, the ball headed out by Moran, back again to Hutchison. Hutchison's cross comes over again, Reeves, and he got too much of a deflection on it. Then back by Mackenzie, Power, couple of bounces into the arms of Bailey. Bailey long to see if he can get McGarvey away. It's good thinking by Henry. Knocked it across to the far side where there was space. Power's header, chased on by Bennett. Nicol back. Bailey saves the ball from going for a corner. McGarvey, promising looking control from McGarvey, but he lost it eventually to Reed. So now it's Mackenzie to Hutchison. Bennett, Hutchison couldn't take it. And Dave Sexton's last hopes of pulling something out of the season crumbling in front of his eyes here. Well, it's not much added on. To the City fans, the jubilation. To Steve Mackenzie, the goal. But after it, the inquests on what has been another very disappointing Manchester derby. It ends Manchester City 1, Manchester United 0.
Well, there have been 102 of those Manchester derby games, and I suppose, in fairness, that won't go down as one of the best. But you just try and tell John Bond that. It was a wonderful result for him and Manchester City, and put still greater pressure on United and their manager, Dave Sexton. Did they feel there was even more tension in today's game than usual?
From my point of view, there wasn't. I mean, we'd been doing fairly well recently, well, in the last 2 or 3 months, and we'd had some good results, and we feel confident at this moment in time that we can beat anybody, and I didn't think any different on today's encounter. Just because it was a local derby didn't make any difference to me. I just felt that we were capable of winning it. I'm always like, though, to win with a little bit more style, but as Dave will tell you, it's not always possible to win with the style that you, as manager, require. You know, the players sometimes don't quite feel like it or quite come up to the standards, and you're in a little bit of trouble, and I thought that game today was a little bit like that.
To look on the positive side, which of your players pleased you, David?
our two centre-backs, Kevin Moran and Martin Buchan, did as well as anybody, and probably contributed to John's disappointment because you know, they use their front players a lot to build up on. And
John?
well, I thought Big Tommy Booth played exceptionally well. I thought that he showed all his experience in the centre of our defence, and I thought he did. But Tommy Hutch had a very indifferent game by his standards, but at times he held it up very nicely and controlled it for us at times, and that was nice. But I know that we can play much, much better than we play today, and that's the thing that I'm looking forward to more than anything, is to get us playing that much better.
And now you're now both glad it's over?
I'm glad it's over. I mean,
I'm not glad it's over. I'd rather start again.
And you can be sure of one thing, Dave won't be losing his dry sense of humour in spite of that mounting criticism aimed at him up in the north. Well, coming up next, goals from the third division as Fulham face promotion candidate Portsmouth, and from the first division, a dramatic match between Brighton and Liverpool after this break. Back. And now we go to the third division for Fulham against Portsmouth, our first visit to Craven Cottage this season. And we find Fulham only 6 off the bottom of the table, while Portsmouth, with only 1 defeat in their last 6 games, they've moved up amongst the promotion clubs. But the day was an important one for 21-year-old Fulham striker Tony Mahoney. Got married at Grays in Essex at 11 o'clock this morning. His bride is Michelle. And then after a few wedding photographs, including one with his best man Kevin Locke, who's also playing for Fulham today, it was a headlong chase to Craven Cottage. And by now, Tony had left his bride behind. Michelle would see him again at the reception tonight. And needless to say, when a footballer gets married in the season, well, there's no time for a honeymoon. Let's on with the match now as we pick it up in the first half. Fulham in the white shirts. Doyle. And another Portsmouth throw. Tate with it. Gregory, the substitute. Doyle again. It's to be with Blackpool. Good ball there. So Bryant trying to get Rodgers away. That's a lovely ball from Bryant now. Rodgers needs to make a good cross. And it's a good cross from him. Mick Tate, saved there by Stannard. What a lovely Portsmouth move. With a lovely ball played out there, and Rodgers had time to put a good cross in. Tate rose well, and Stannard got down well. Strong. Mahoney, will be Tate's ball. Rodgers onside. Gale alone is back for Fulham. Supported now by Strong. Finding Kevin Locke. There for Gary Peters. It's a good ball there to Lewington. Wilson. Locke. Lewington. Played there for Davis. Locke again. Chance to cross one in. Mahoney's there. And so too is Davis. Just wide. Appearances for Chelsea and then played for Wimbledon. He also had a period in American football as well. Gregory played back again for Bryant. Rafferty. And Brown coming out of that situation well for Fulham. Beck being closely watched though by Steve Bryant. Lewington getting it away. Flicked on well by Peters, and Davis is through for Fulham and has scored. Right on half-time, Fulham go into the lead. A good break and finishing that was coolness itself. And it's flicked there, the ball running kindly for him. But this, from moment onward, it's good finishing as Mellor comes out. Portsmouth lying 5th, of course. They probably look to avoid defeat in this game, to keep well up amongst the promotion contenders at the moment. Fulham pegging them back now as Gale comes forward. Davis onside, played back across there, and they're in terrible trouble. Oh, and
And Mellor almost, in fact, he could well be injured. The ball back in there again, and it was Ellis who got it away first time. Fantastic piece of play there by the Fulham number 2. And Peter Mellor in the Portsmouth goal. And the Portsmouth number 2 there. Played in there. Davis did well there. Knocked it back across the goal. This is where the trouble began. And they just got it away there. Mellor crashing into the post. Peters again, and the chances, I must say, are few and far between for Portsmouth at the moment. And Fulham, so close to the bottom, are looking a better proposition. It's Lewington trying to get Wilson away and put into his own net by Doyle. So as the slow motion shows us, the ball played wide there, and Doyle putting it through past Peter Mellor, and Fulham are 2 into the lead. Fulham 2, Portsmouth 0. An own goal there by Bobby Doyle. And Peters. And Bryant again going in hard on Beck. To say that the referee is being a little generous towards some of these really hefty tackles, although the shake of the head there from Steve Bryant suggests that it wasn't all that bad. It wasn't all that brilliant, but it couldn't have done either to John Beck. Now Davis pulled down and a penalty. And the referee having no arguments. And Portsmouth face going 3 down. The situation again as Davis, from that angle, it did look a little on the harsh side, but it's really up to Peter Mellor now. Whereas Kevin Locke is going to take this one. He scored from 3 penalties this season, so can Locke really make it safe for Fulham now against Peter Mellor. It's 3-0. Kevin Locke's 5th goal and his 4th from penalties, and you can see why he's such a dab hand from that range. Beautifully placed. And 3-0 with a quarter of an hour to go. Portsmouth, who came with eyes into the top 3 places, which is really what they wanted in the promotion race, are now really struggling. So just under 10,000 here at Craven Cottage to see it, and a lot of disappointed Portsmouth folk amongst them. It's time for Doyle. Rogers. And an instruction there by Kevin Locke, giving Portsmouth the free kick. Hazelwood up there again. As the free kick floated in there. Stannard, well, he hit it straight on Mick Tate's head, and it was as well for Fulham that Les Strong was there to knock it away for another corner. And there's how we get this next corner. Wayne Rogers with it, floated in there once more. And Ellis trying to go all the way. Turning it across there, and almost an own goal there by Lewington as Jim Stannard went down and grabbed that ball at the post. We almost had the second own goal of the game there, as Lewington is put a good bit of play there, and Lewington came so close to putting it into his own goal.
Well, it finished 3-0 to Fulham, and at least it was a win bonus for Tony Mahoney to take home to his new bride on his wedding day. Portsmouth helped by the fact that at the top of the 3rd Division table, both Huddersfield and Barnsley were beaten at home. Portsmouth stay 5th. With Charlton, they retain the top place after a goal by Phil Walker was good enough to beat a cup giant Killers Exeter at the Valley. Now, Jim, what about the rest of the news, starting with that transfer business?
Well, Brian, that transfer news is that Nottingham Forest's Irish international midfield player Martin O'Neill is travelling to Norwich tomorrow to talk terms with manager Ken Brown. O'Neill scored twice in Forest's 3-1 victory over Arsenal today. If he decides to join Norwich, it could open the way for striker Justin Fashanu to go to Nottingham. Fashanu, valued at more than £1 million, was watched at Birmingham last night by Brian Clough and Peter Taylor. Definitely leaving Carrow Road is defender Kevin Bond. He's agreed tonight to join Seattle Sounders in America in a deal worth £400,000. And coming to Norwich as part of that deal is forward Steve Buttle. Meantime, Manchester City, they've agreed a £300,000 deal with Seattle for Steve Daly, but Daly still hasn't sorted out his personal terms with the American club. In the First Division, the big two, Ipswich Town and Aston Villa, are showing no signs at all of feeling the pace. Ipswich now unbeaten in 40 games at Portman Road, although Wolves gave them an early scare when Andy Gray deflected in a header after only 3 minutes. But Ipswich won 3-1. That included John Walk's 29th goal of the season. The turning point, a penalty saved by Paul Cooper. He really does seem to make a habit of that sort of thing, and this time he saved from John Richards. Aston Villa's match with Crystal Palace wasn't the formality you might have expected. Villa given the boost of an early goal by Peter With. He also scored in the second half, but Paul Hinshelwood pulled Palace back to 2-1. No question about the shock team at the moment, that's Leicester City. They've already won at Anfield and beaten Manchester United, and this afternoon they became only the second team to win at White Hart Lane all season. Leicester beating Spurs 2-1, and that despite having striker Jim Melrose carried off with concussion. He's unconscious in this Sunday Mirror picture. He's been detained overnight in hospital, but I'm glad to say he should be allowed out tomorrow. Substitute Pat Byrne was Leicester's match winner. He scored with just about his first kick. Steve Lynex for Leicester and Stevie Archibald for Spurs, the other scorers. In Division 2, West Ham march on. 36,000 saw them beat Cambridge United 4-2 at Upton Park. But a real blow for Chelsea, beaten 1-0 at Stamford Bridge by Watford. Malcolm Poskett got that one, his 17th, courtesy of goalkeeper Peter Barotta, caught well out of his area and making a mistake described by manager Jeff Hurst as straight out of the music hall. So West Ham then 8 points clear, Notts County on 39 after their 1-0 win in Cardiff last night. Then come Chelsea on 35, along with Grimsby, and they had another excellent win, 2-0 at Luton. Blackburn also on 35 after the 1-1 draw with Wrexham, and Derby also dropped a home point to Orient, another 1-1 draw, and John Margerison was the Orient scorer.
And still to come for you tonight, that eventful game between Brighton and Liverpool, and the Pools news after this break. And welcome back again, and our third match tonight takes us back to the First Division for more goals and drama as Brighton face Liverpool. It's suddenly a match that's become more important to Brighton than to Liverpool. Brighton still have a lot to do to get away from the foot of the table, while I suppose Liverpool's recent decline has virtually put the Championship beyond their reach. So critical times for Brighton as we pick up the coverage of Southern Television with our commentator David Bobin.
It's the start of a crucial week for Brighton in their bid to avoid relegation. After today's game against Liverpool, they play Southampton here at the Goldstone on Tuesday night, and then next Saturday they travel to Carrow Road for the game against Norwich, who are as deep in trouble at the foot of the table as Brighton are. Alan Mullery's team are without the suspended Neil McNabb and Brian Horton. Now he'll miss all 3 of those vital matches after collecting more than 20 disciplinary points. His place in midfield today goes to Giles Still, making his first team debut, and Mark Lawrenson takes over the role of captain for this vital game. Striker Andy Ritchie is out with a knee injury, and so Gordon Smith joins Mike Robinson in attack. Well, by their own remarkable standards, Liverpool are struggling. It's their worst season in the league for many years, and even at this stage of the season, it would appear that they're about to lose their First Division Championship. They've not won a league match since January the 17th at Norwich, and they haven't been helped by a whole crop of injuries, but today they line up like this. And their Scottish international striker Kenny Dalglish returned to the side after a recent injury, and he'll be posing as many problems as ever for the Brighton defence today. So away we go, and a trip in the very first seconds of the match for Kenny Dalglish as Brighton get underway against Liverpool. Liverpool in their distinctive all-red strip, attacking the goal on our left, and really a very important game for both sides for different reasons. Early touch of the ball for Giles Still, making his debut for Brighton. Brighton, of course, desperate to get back in the points after a very bad run recently. That would certainly help them to climb away from the foot of the table. And Liverpool, well, as I said, by their own high standards, not had a good time recently, and they'll be looking to narrow the gap with the leaders at the top of Division 1. McDermott, back to Cohen. Again looking for Dalglish, but Gregory there. Kennedy to McDermott. Jimmy Case wide on that far touch line, but away by Foster. There's a chance. Robinson all by himself. Can he put him in front? He can! An absolute dream start for Brighton. That's just what they wanted. Mike Robinson with his 16th goal of the season. Admittedly, Liverpool are playing with an experimental back four, but just look at the confidence of Robinson here, bursting into the box. Clements can't do anything. 1-0 to Brighton. Well, my word, that's just the sort of start that the fans here wanted. And Brighton are forced into all sorts of changes because of suspensions and injury. But you really couldn't ask for a better start than that. Here's Johnson for Liverpool. Trying to find Dalglish where he's so dangerous, just on the edge of the area. Hoofed away now, looking for Robinson or Smith. That was Smith underneath it. Gregory to Still. Smith with a touch on again, and Robinson's away for a second time. He squares it. O'Sullivan couldn't quite control it, but that should have been number 2. Well, what an extraordinary start by Brighton. They've got Liverpool absolutely on the ropes. A lovely ball from Gordon Smith, which went through and found Robinson. And really, if O'Sullivan had managed to control the centre, that surely would have been number 2. Cohen to Johnson. Nice ball, but not a good header. Little flick to header on from Robinson. Owen in trouble. Oh yes, and it's there. Well, this is quite extraordinary, isn't it? Gordon Smith and Liverpool are all at sea. Irwin dallied on the ball. He paid the price because Gordon Smith and Mike Robinson, the Brighton spearhead, have now both scored. There he goes. Smith's shot straight through Clements' legs. 2-0. Well, 9 minutes of the match gone. Brighton 2, Liverpool 0, and who would have believed it? Certainly not the Liverpool team. Better kick from Digweed that time. Nice touch from Smith to Robinson, and nearly charging through and causing problems. Well, this makeshift Brighton attack, which has only really come about through the absence of Andy Ritchie, is certainly giving Liverpool problems. Here's Clark. Good left foot shot from Paul Clark. So nearly caught Ray Clements by surprise, bursting through and hitting that fierce shot. The little ball through for Paul Clark. You'll see him. There it is. Picks it up on the edge of the area. Comes in and whacks that left foot shot just past the post. Cohen, that's not a bad ball to McDermott. Oh, lovely touch and back in by Johnson. Lovely skills by Liverpool. That's the first time we've seen any evidence at all, really, of the sort of thing that they can do in attack. And a lovely ball from McDermott over Digweed's head, back off the crossbar. And David Johnson, well, a simple task to put Liverpool back in at 2-1. There's McDermott just turning over Digweed off the bar. David Johnson runs in, says thank you very much, 2-1. Now, Mark Lawrenson, beautifully cut out by Phil Neal, and Liverpool Liverpool starting to bite a bit. Dalglish, McDermott on the run, but that should be Clark's. Really, Paul Clark, I think, doing the only sensible thing coming in like that. He wasn't sure where the attacker was behind him. Happy to concede the corner. So it's McDermott down to take the corner. There's McDermott lining it up, and Liverpool are pushing most people forward. Sammy Lee on the decoy run. Kennedy whacks it in, but hoofed away. Now, Jimmy Case, will he try one? A little chip. Johnson, and that's dangerous. Johnson's there. Well, Brighton so nearly paid the penalty there. The ball was bouncing loose, and they didn't get it away, and David Johnson nearly made it number 2 for him. David Johnson very sharp in the penalty area, and Brighton are going to learn that to their expense if they carry on like this. There's the ball bobbling around. David Johnson so nearly just putting it inside instead of outside. Smith to O'Sullivan. Mike Robinson letting it run beautifully for Gordon Smith. He's goal-bound now. That's a great start from Clements. Well, a tremendous break from Brighton, and Gordon Smith unlucky in a way not to make it the third Brighton goal and his second. But certainly superb anticipation from Ray Clements in that situation, saved Liverpool again. But another great break from Brighton. So there we go, the half-time whistle, and really what an entertaining first 45 minutes we've had here. Brighton giving excellent value to the fans who've turned up in their thousands to see this game, and they fully deserve a 2-1 lead. And if the second half of this entertaining game is anywhere near as good as the first 45 minutes, we're in for a real treat. Brighton leading, remember, by those 2-1. Brighton's scorers Gordon Smith and Mike Robinson, and the Liverpool reply coming from David Johnson. But really, that's not perhaps an accurate reflection of the way the chances went. It could have been 4-2, something like that. Anyway, we've got a free kick in the opening seconds of this half, which Jimmy Case will take. Away again by Foster, only as far as Souness's shot, which almost crept under Digweed, but positioned absolutely right. There he is, Graham Souness. The Brighton crowd finally really getting behind their team. A bit quiet at times. They sense this could be a famous victory if Brighton can retain this 2-1 lead. David Johnson, McDermott. Case looking for Kennedy. Alan Murray putting the ball back to his skipper Mark Lawrenson, who in turn will leave it. Nobody can actually decide as to who's going to take the throw. Still finally gives it to Gregory. Well, that's interesting. There's Robinson. He's got a great chance, and he couldn't quite control it. It was bouncing and bobbling all over the place. And really, well, Mike Robinson was unlucky there. He was in exactly the right place, but he couldn't quite make the vital contact where it counted. Aerial power, Clark, Robinson and Smith. Liverpool have got it away, and this is McDermott looking dangerous for Liverpool, but that's not a good ball, and well cut out by Williams. He's harassed and chased all the way by David Johnson, and so nearly put Smith away. Now Phil Neal striking back for Liverpool. Kennedy finding Dalglish. Little flick. Oh, what a lovely goal by McDermott. That really was a great goal. Just as casual as you like. And Perry Digweed could really do nothing about that. The disgust as he kicks the ball away, but Liverpool are right back in this game now. And really, what a clinical example of finishing this is. Dalglish, little chip. Lee goes up, doesn't make touch, but look at that for finishing. McDermott makes it 2-2. Ray Kennedy on one of those probing runs. This is Jimmy Case. Took a deflection. The shot from Jimmy Case, and that's going to be another corner to Liverpool. They're pushing forward now. Their years of experience at the very highest level could pay against a Brighton side which contains all sorts of changes, and a young debutant making his league debut. What can they do now? McDermott wide to Jimmy Case. It's coming to Kennedy. What a great start by Digweed. Ray Kennedy's shot surely was goal-bound, and Digweed did brilliantly to get down at almost point-blank range to keep that one out.
2-2 the final score. What a comeback then by Liverpool, but with Ipswich and Villa both winning today, while Liverpool are 8 points behind, they've only 11 games to play now. It's surely beyond them. Southampton and West Brom, two other teams on that caption, played a 2-2 draw at the Dell, where Kevin Keegan went off at half-time with a rib injury. Meanwhile, at the bottom, that point keeps Brighton just above the bottom three. Remember, there are 3 relegation places, but Leicester's win at Tottenham has really put the pressure on Brighton. And remember, Brighton play at Norwich next Saturday. And thank you again for joining us. And tonight on The Big Match, we've certainly had goals coming in all shapes and sizes. We've seen some clinical finishing from Steve McKenzie in his first Manchester derby, and indeed he won the game for City. From Terry McDermott a moment ago, who completed Liverpool's fight back at Brighton. We also had that crazy own goal at Fulham. Good night.
So close to the bottom are looking a better proposition. It's Lewington trying to get Wilson away and put it to his own net.
Kennedy finding Dalglish. Little flick. Oh, what a lovely goal by McDermott.
And Mackenzie to Bennett. This looks a bit more promising from City. Bennett slipping it on. Power pulls back. Mackenzie!